Okay, so hi everybody. It's Sunday, April 12th. So let's do a quick check-in, even though this is a shorter inquiry, just there's only three of you here so far besides me. Um, Anything you're noticing, what you're watching, where you're at. Okay, so Maggie, how about if you start?
Okay. Um, I've been not feeling well, feeling better now. I did not have the virus. I had a cold and allergies, I think.
Mm,
It really wore me out. But where I'm at with eating peace is I'm not eating peace right now. In this moment, I can't say that's true, but there's a general pattern of not eating peace right now. And I'm getting so mad at myself.
mm,
But so the work that I've been looking at is I've been noticing my thighs like really big time, just noticing because they're not even. They don't look even when I look at them. I don't know what other people see, but I'm going with what I see, and they don't look even, and they're very heavy. I don't like it, and that's where I'm at right now.
Any sense at all of any thoughts about, and it could be that start with those thighs that are uneven, Do you mean like one of them isn't the same as the other, or?
Yeah, like they're not symmetrical. Like
Oh,
one looks heavier than the other. And I wanted to I wanted to measure. I didn't, but I wanted to measure and see like if they were the same or not. Oh God, I can't believe I said that. Yeah.
that's great though. I mean, you did, It's sort of watching and noticing with the mind, like it kind of wants to know the answers, to these things.
Yes, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Any sense at all of thoughts, and what I was going to say is that could be it. It's kind of like you wind up having this focus about food and eating, and then also, I mean,
Mhm.
or body being off. Anything else with what you sense is happening when it comes to eating? Like,
With eating, I think I'm I think I'm finally seeing that I'm really not lined up with what's really important to me. And I'm, um, I need to make a decision. I thought I could just keep trying to balance work life balance. And I think what it is I don't, not that I don't want to, but there's other places I want to put more of myself. Um, and I haven't been really listening to that. And I have to say, I think that this work has really opened me up to that in a big way, opened me up to seeing it. And I think that this um, push pull or whatever, this tension, um, because it feels like I'm eating to fill something, just to
mhm.
fill that space of disconnection between what I really want to be doing and what I
Mm,
am doing. Um,
very cool find. Very.
yeah. So I'm not sure where the work is, and I'm not sure how to
Mhm.
um, look at
Yeah.
that, you know,
One,
through the lens of the work.
I sometimes like really simple, like, here's what I'd like to be doing. And then you just answer. And it
Mm-hmm.
may or may not all be true, but like almost in a list form.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would like to be doing. This is what I'm doing that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'd like to remove
Mm-hmm.
from what I'm doing. And it's sort of when it gets really, really simple and like that, then the mind can answer that question pretty easily, because it'll
Mm-hmm.
go, when it's sort of a larger mystery, it's
Mm-hmm.
tricky. But that'll, you'll be amazed at how much information you get
Mm-hmm.
from that. Here's what I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
and here's what I want. And then this is kind of like our my favorite exercise maybe, the immunity to change, which is what would it take to do what I want that I don't
Mm-hmm.
like?
Mm-hmm.
What do I actually not like about that? I know that it
Oh,
sounds like I
yeah.
want that, but what do I think it means, or what would it take, or what do I
Mm-hmm.
think is required, or any of it that I don't like?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice third list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
Good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good. Wonderful. Feel free to come back and check in about that, because I think
Yeah.
it's important. I love that. Just that simple thing that we've all heard sometimes, which is what am I hungry for?
Yes.
Food, but I'm used to eating.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna eat something because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Teresa, how about you? I unmuted you.
Thank you. Um, so I'm noticing that it's getting easier to feel uncomfortable and just kind of notice, oh, I want to ask somebody to do something, and I don't like asking my children to do something, but just
Love
just
it.
kind of challenging myself to do it anyway. And I'm seeing that it's easier to not clean my plate, right? To kind of be aware, oh, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. Sometimes, usually a little bit farther than a 7, but just
Mm,
willingness to stop, which is huge.
yeah.
I really truly am feeling like, when I think about doing the survey, and I started doing it, but I really, when I ask myself, okay, why did I do this? I really did this because I want to feel peace around food. That's really why I did this. And so I really am feeling that, but there's just that voice of, but you didn't lose weight, but you're not losing weight,
Yeah.
but you're. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, there it is. And the goal was peace. The goal was not about weight. The goal was peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am finding that.
Beautiful. Donnie asked me that in the Facebook Live on Friday, because he said he's felt like he really is has so much peace with food. And this is his second time that he's done eating peace. And so he said, I might, what now, what, or now, and how I really like to sit with that and look at it is, if that 1% change, if you did one tiny thing that wouldn't set you off, like you treat it sort of like you're somebody who's got PTSD about, being in prison camp, with the way we think about food or eating and how we've spoken to ourselves, and, um, just and starvation, thinking that that's a good thing for us, or whatever our approach, and being very delicate and gentle, but watching how peace could be there even with a small change. And
Right.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I even thought today for Easter dinner, oh, look, I'm feeding the fairies. There's food left on my
good.
plate.
Okay, you got that. You
So
saw that
yes.
one. Yes.
Yes, I loved it. I
Yes.
loved it.
Yes. Yes. And you can question the thought, I'm not losing weight. Is it true? Because I
Yeah.
think amazing things can happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right. Abby, how about you?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I've had kind of I think a argumentative day, and I've been arguing with, I don't know. I keep having these thoughts come up that I'm writing worksheets on,
Mm-hmm.
And then I am resisting doing the work on the worksheets. Like I'm not wanting to do them for some reason. Like I think there's something I don't want to face or something like that. And I found I've been kind of watching, although I'm irritable about watching, like watching how and I know these things, but I think it's like in my face now how I'm using things to zone out or to avoid, and they're really not that fulfilling. And like eating wise has been balanced, except for it's been creeping back in the off balance. So I've been like I was off balance tonight, and I could watch it happen, and I feel like I'm still in a place of major resistance, like fighting it. It's like feels still like a willpower thing where I'm
Mm.
just trying to do the things to like hold on, wait a minute, that it just feels like I'm trying to go back into some form of control. And it hasn't actually, in retrospect, I'm like, it hasn't felt so much like that for a little while, except for here and there, but nothing. Today was kind of the hardest. And I guess if I look at that, that's some progress there, that it hasn't actually felt like willpower or control up until tonight. And I recognize the thoughts about body come back in, and the thoughts about controlling for weight loss come back in, and so I've been sort of fighting with that. And like when you were talking to Maggie about making the list of things that what like to look at what I want to be doing that I'm not doing, and I'm like, but there's like this resistance that comes up, but I don't want to do that because I'm afraid of looking at everything that I want to be doing, because I can tell you I'm doing none of it. And so
Mhm.
I'm gonna feel worse about myself. It's like I'm afraid to. The reason I bring that up is because it's like I feel like that's how I'm approaching everything. Like I don't want to look at it because I'm gonna be afraid of what I see. Uh,
Mm.
it's just gonna. Oh yeah, this is kind of the biggest one. It's just gonna be more proof to me that I'm doing it wrong now, and I've done it wrong my entire life. And
Mm.
what a shame.
Oh,
There,
okay.
that's a little synopsis of what I guess has been going on today.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just writing, even at just that core belief, like I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, pops into my mind. It's funny. I saw this little um, gif of Steve Carroll. He cracks me up,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, and he's in. I guess it was from Get Smart, but he's in like a phone booth, and of course he can't get out. He's like locked in, and he just like shakes it a little bit, and then stands there and stares. And that's how I feel like in my head. Like I'm shaking a little bit, and I'm like, gosh, I'm still stuck. So, anyways, that's it.
Got it. The visuals are good. All right. Thank you. Okay. May, how about you?
Hey, I'm
Hi.
so emotional. I just got off a video call with I think he's my partner, before being here. So just like flow of emotions. I
Mm.
have all this attachment stuff come up with him where I get scared that I'm never gonna see him again.
Mm.
And so like I see images of like being really young and like I got my legs stuck in the sand at the beach. I had buried it, and the tide was coming in, and a lifeguard had to come shovel me out. And my mom was so angry and embarrassed. She went back to the condo, and I was this little girl running, chasing her, screaming for her to please turn around. And she turned around and screamed at me that I'm making a scene, and kept going. And I just noticed that when I do inquiry about feeling like Connor is gonna leave me or he doesn't care about me, and when I close my eyes and sit still long enough, I see images of me chasing my mom around the house. Also, she used to shut the door,
Mm.
and when I was like 3, and
Mm.
like even to this day she tells me I was terrifying and that she had to do that. And so I
Mm.
have had it come up a lot,
Mm.
and it makes me very confused in my partnership, and I go from
Mm-hmm.
feeling confident and secure to feeling so small so quick. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just learning. Today I decided to start identifying these parts, just giving other labels. Like before I was calling it um like the victim part of me and the part that wants to suppress the victim, and now I'm actually calling it like the masochistic part and the sadistic part, um just to
Mm-hmm.
try to find the behaviors
Mm-hmm.
and the style of how they talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
um and the last thing I'll share is Easter brings up a memory, a very young memory of some serious trauma around food for me. I was 4, maybe 5, and I went into my bedroom and I ate all of the chocolate in my Easter basket, all of it. It was weeks worth of candy. And then I went into my brother's room and I ate all of his. And then my mom and brother came in and started screaming at me, and the vibration was so intense I threw up all over the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just I'm feeling very in touch with those memories right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, powerful. Yeah.
Mhm.
It sounds like the eating the candy is almost the same as like this desperate, you know, wanting somebody's attention too. To make
Thanks for
sure.
pointing
Yeah.
that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Lori.
So, here I am, sheltering in place with my good old hubby. And what I notice is when I'm eating, let's say I have a an acceptable size meal, let's say a bowl of cereal at breakfast, but I'm more hungry than that. I notice that I don't feel like I have the right to be more hungry than that. I'm not I don't see it as legitimate. If I'm eating a bigger breakfast than him, or if I'm snacking throughout the day, the thought of feeling like I have a right to be hungry, I have a legitimate right to be eating, to actually make myself a big, huge, lovely, huge sandwich with a nice glass of something to drink and a piece of that, and to sit down at a table and just make this nice thing that makes me happy. And so I'm just noticing that I don't think I feel totally entitled to that,
Hmm.
or that my hunger is not legitimate.
That's a good thought to question.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What's interesting about that one to me is it's like you're almost at I'm um how'd you say it? I'm not entitled to my hunger. I'm not entitled to meeting my hunger.
Yeah, maybe I'm not entitled to meeting my hunger. Yeah. And there's something about, I read a sentence about even having the right to be hungry.
Oh.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
Don't know. Got it. Yeah.
but even to make something that's
Yeah.
sufficient and satisfying to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I got it. Something that would be really satisfying for me. We don't, because
And eat it in front of somebody else. To legitimately
Yeah.
satisfy my hunger in front of somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
exactly how I would love to satisfy my hunger.
Yeah. That's a good one. And sort of sounds like it's before, like I'm going to satisfy my hunger, and I'm readying myself, I'm doing whatever it takes naturally to get ready to do that. Because you never know in the middle when you're eating something when you're going to get satisfied point. But just to be able to feel completely free to do it with whatever's in front of you, including a nice big something or other. all put together.
Yeah, to make a nice little plate, sit down and just really, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Something feels wrong about that.
Yeah.
Something feels guilty about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or shameful about that.
Okay.
Not legitimate.
Yeah. That's a good one. Thank you. Great find. Great find.
Mhm.
Okay. And Dee, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I found that today as well. I had a smoothie for breakfast, and then a couple hours later, I was in the kitchen, and it wasn't just me there. It was my voices saying, "It's not time yet. Like that smoothie should carry you farther. Like you should
Mhm.
wait. You should wait longer." you know, and it was like this battle, like, but I want to eat now, and
Hmm.
but you know, it wasn't legitimate. I like that
Yeah.
that and the other thing was that last night I was browsing news, and so there's an outbreak in a prison not too far from where I live, and so it kind of felt more real and more close to home, that so there was these thoughts like, oh, now it's going to be harder, now I have to be more careful,
Mm-hmm.
and what if, you know, I just had all these stories like
Mm-hmm.
you know, they sent the guards that were infected home to self-isolate, and like my thoughts just go to, well, what does that mean? They go back to their homes with their families. They're just going to infect all their families, and they're all going to shop in the same grocery store that I shop in. And it's just,
Coming.
you know,
Yeah.
it's coming. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And it's unavoidable. And
Yeah.
so my mind was a bit, it's still a bit like,
Mm-hmm.
needs to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think the nature of that, having sort of this unknown, invisible, you know, the sickness is kind of invisible thing out there, brings people's just sense of that about life, you know, kind of up. It's there for sure. It's a great thing to question, you know. Of course, for any of us, food or not food as an option, as an eating option. It's just like watching that nervousness about the unknown, like, and kind of any of those, like, it's coming to get me, it's coming for me, and I got to watch out, I got to be very careful. I should do more. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you. Um, okay, I think that the one, so everybody, you know, just holding that, we could just take a moment to even hold that's kind of in the air. You know, my family happens to be one that we do have a huge, it's like probably the biggest celebration of the year, everybody getting together on this day. And that's weird to not do that. It's funny. We all had a Zoom meeting. So it was just a little odd. It was the first time I thought, oh, this is funny. I felt a missing of everybody's presence, and hard to, you know, when you have a really big family and everybody gets together, you don't talk to everybody at once. You talk to a few people at a time. So it didn't really work to have a big Zoom meeting. We kind of figured that out. I was okay, but you know, it's not very intimate. So just knowing all that's there and kind of hold that with ourselves. And it really makes things come up, makes us think. So I think everybody probably can do this together. The thought, there's something about what Lori just said, I don't have the right to do that, and it's not legitimate, you know, to eat this in front of you. You can picture or like it makes me think of Teresa saying, to ask my kids to do something.
Yeah, not having a right to ask, or not, my hunger is not legitimate.
My hunger is not legitimate. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, May.
I'm just relating to that idea, and I made it more like my feelings aren't legitimate. And last night I did some work, and I actually ended up literally texting my partner to say, "Will you tell me that you love me?" And I was believing that I don't have the right to do that. Like, I'm not allowed to ask someone to do that for me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I did. And he said it.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Yeah. Gosh, it just makes me think of that in the most, here we all need food, and I this this is something I feel like I heard when I was a kid. I don't really know if I heard it a lot, but it really, I can just hear the sound of it. You can't be hungry. It isn't time. you know, you know? Oh, supposed to pay attention in a crowd, like look at the clock or something. So just noticing and narrowing in on one moment. Lori had her moment, just where that is, where you notice if you're doing it on food and eating or not, but just there's the situation and you hesitate because you think this is not legitimate. I don't have the right to do that, whatever your way that you would say it. It's really a shouldn't, I shouldn't, based on the law of the land. You're not supposed to do that. I mean, just what's the result Lori was talking about is shame. I can't do that in front of everybody. So let's just hear your one-liner so we can kind of hear each person's. Teresa, how about you?
Are we sticking with I was thinking my hunger for help, or my need, or my desire to ask for help is not legitimate, something like that.
Yeah. And you can have you notice all those happen, and there might be even more, and then just pick one as the main one for today, for this inquiry.
Even my need for help. My need for help is not legitimate.
Oh, yes. If I ask, it points to that I have a need, and I shouldn't be needing that. Yes, my need for help is not legitimate. That's good. All right, Abby, how about you?
I don't know. I was having a little trouble finding one, even though I know that they're in there. I think the one that's kind of coming up for me is I don't have the right to be demanding.
And what's your situation? Like, where would you see that happening when you feel?
I think that I feel sometimes. I'm living in my parents' place right now, and now in isolation with them. And I feel like I can be really demanding of my mom. And I actually think, though, now it's like I got a sort of flashback to childhood and feeling like I was always just too demanding.
Okay.
Right, that's the feeling I got, that I was just a pain in the ass.
Yeah. You can let that old, like that it feels old, not a brand new feeling, like hang out there in the back, and you can do it from the current moment too, and definitely find that moment where that you've had, maybe there's a bunch of them where you feel demanding, and then you think, I don't have the right to do that, to be that way. Yeah. Okay. Dee, how about you?
I'm gonna do that. I can't trust myself with food
Okay.
because I think what you said, like you can't be hungry. It's not time.
Hmm.
So it triggered like that. I don't know, like other people know the right time, or even what hunger. I don't know what real hunger is, and
Mm.
I don't know what times to eat, and not like I can't, so I can't be trusted with all this.
Mm. Yeah. If you feel like narrowing it down, so it's like noticing all of this feels like I don't know, I don't know. And even this thing about hunger, I think, or just you can find one specifically. I can't trust myself with that particular part of it.
Okay.
Could be
So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Like that moment that you just gave us where you
sure.
had
So
something.
I
Yeah.
can't trust with myself with knowing like
Yeah.
when to eat.
Yeah. 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 Okay. And May, I think you shared. You want to say it again?
Yeah. I don't have the right to ask for an I love you text every day.
All right, Maggie, how about you?
Um, my hunger for connection is not okay.
Ah, okay. And what's your situation?
Well, excuse me. It has to do with work, and it has to do with a specific time. I remember walking into the kitchen, um, knowing I had to go sit at my computer and do some work, and realizing I really want to be doing something different. Just
Mm,
real, and it has to do with being connected to other people. Like this, like being in group and
mm,
face to face, whether in person or not, but
awesome.
and not staring at a computer.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, blank screen.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, right. Thank you. Okay. And Lori, I think you got it. Did you want to have anything else you want to add? You might have to unmute if you do.
No, I got it. What I
Okay.
want.
You
Okay.
got it. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Great bunch of situations. So just to keep it really simple, it's like really think about that one thing, that one situation. Here comes the feeling. Okay, you don't have a right to that, or it's not legitimate. Is that true? And if you're noticing a yes, just see if it's absolutely true. You don't have a right to feel that way. You don't know. It's not legitimate. Can you absolutely know that that's true? So, what happens when you think it? It's very interesting. There's this thing that comes, an idea, a feeling, a sensation, an experience. And you say, nope, I don't have a right to that. It's not legitimate. I don't know. What happens when you think that? So if anyone wants to share, let's hear a couple people. How do you react when you think the thought, I don't have the right? It's not legitimate.
I was gonna speak to it, but I just had to say quickly, I had to change my statement because I couldn't grab the situation.
Mm.
So I changed it to I don't have the right to mess up.
Ah.
And because I had a situation tonight, and what happens is I get very self-abusive, really aggressive towards myself, and it almost feels like if I just like attack myself for everybody in my head
Mm-hmm.
that I imagine would attack me if they knew, or blah blah blah, then I'll just take care of it right there. I'll do it myself. I'll beat everyone to the punch. So, and it's very familiar.
Mm.
It's just an automatic, like, okay, let's go into this zone, this mode.
Mm-hmm. That's good to see. It's like a well-worn, pathway. And that can have interesting benefits, without inquiry, but just watching that thing that you caught, which is, I'll just do it before anyone else does. That's powerful.
What happens when I have hunger pains or physical pain, hunger? I do get hungry a couple of hours after breakfast, and I don't think it's legitimate. I don't think I should be getting hungry a couple hours after breakfast. I think my body's not cooperating. My body's not in a socially acceptable pattern mode. That you know.
I love that, socially acceptable. It's just great to see the phrase socially acceptable. Yeah.
Hunger mode.
For some reason, I had the flash of in Gone with the Wind. Um, there's like a big, huge social party or something, and the maid. I mean, oh my God, what a movie! But to think of, but I remember the moment. I was really little when I first saw that movie, and I still remember the moment when, or somebody brings the main heroine food before they go to a party because
Mhm.
it's not acceptable to eat at the party in front of anyone. I'm like, what? Wow. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
remember that too. Is that she brought it? I can picture it. The woman
Yeah.
brought it to the maid brought it to Scarlett O'Hara. Yeah,
Yes.
my sister loved those movies, so they're ingrained in my head.
Yeah. It's not
Mhm.
funny. There's other parts I don't remember, but I remember that. Can't eat too much at the party. Very interesting. So it's old. That's what it makes me think. It's an old being ladylike or whatever. You don't eat too much, right? Can't have too much hunger.
Yeah, and if and when I'm getting hungry, I'm like, I can't be getting hungry. I only ate a couple hours ago, or something, or I can't.
Yeah.
Or oh my God, we're just about to go into a movie, and I'm feeling hungry. Or oh my gosh, it's so inconvenient. Every time I'm feeling hungry, it's so inconvenient. Or we're supposed to wait till this time to eat, and you'll ruin your appetite for whatever if you eat right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's always it's not cooperating. My body's when it gets hungry is not cooperating.
Yeah. In May, like that, what you shared. Feel scared, rejected, unloved. And I feel like I have to go it alone. I do the work to try to fix myself out of my desire. Mm-hmm. I don't let myself reach out to my coach because I'm scared she'll encourage me to ask for what I want. And I don't think I'm ready. And I feel stuck. And I don't ask him if he can tell me he loves me once a day. I'm avoidant. Yeah. Yeah, everyone, you might see the pictures of what happens that you don't want to happen. Like if I ask for this or if I feel this, and didn't check it, didn't have the thought, it's not legitimate. I don't have the right. I don't know. You might have pictures of where it will go if you didn't have that thought. Might be dangerous. You might be just asking for things constantly.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate fear is just that I'll be rejected and denied what I want. And then it's like awkward. It's like, well, where do we go from here? I want this thing. You're not willing to give it to me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So that's helpful to notice if you've got those images of danger, if you do ask, you know.
Yeah, I see images of him feeling stressed out and obligated to send me a text when he's having a busy day and like, oh, fuck, I gotta text May. And like, so I'm all in his business and I'm imagining that it wouldn't be genuine anyway.
So good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So my hunger is not legitimate. I don't have the right to be hungry. Who would you be without this thought? So here's the sensation, this idea. Who would you be without the thought? You don't have the right to have that.
Much more relaxed, peaceful. I'm not so much at war and against everything and afraid of everything. It's like, oh, okay. So I mess up. Okay.
That's nice that when you said that's okay, it's like it's not so intense or catastrophic or like that
Yeah.
more extreme that we get. Like it's just like horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something that comes like there's I don't want to say there's more like more rational about it. It's something different. There's a different word I'm looking for, but um yeah, maybe more realistic.
Mm.
Although that sounds weird too. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So I thought, without the thought, I would feed my body when it's hungry. Whoops, sorry. And what I was, and what that means to me is, you know how they say in the first year of life, you're supposed, when a baby cries, you're supposed to feed it so that it builds trust with the environment and safety and trust. And I had a boss who had twins, and she wanted to put them on a eating schedule almost from the day they were born. And the pediatrician said, well, at least give them 4 months, feed them on demand. So anyway, I would feed my body on demand.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be nice to it would be nice to know that I can trust, maybe I can trust that my needs are going to be met. My needs are going to be taken care of.
Hmm,
When I'm hungry, I can feed myself when I'm hungry.
I like that. Do it on demand. Yeah.
Are we still in number 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
My computer just crashed,
Oh, got it.
and it kind of is symbolic of how I'm feeling because I just can't see who I am without this thought. There's something really painful and
Mm, mm,
scary there.
mhm.
Yeah, like
Might take a little more, as you know, your experience with that. Stay in question for a while. Yeah. Yeah, Teresa.
So I saw that, which I've noticed this internal battle and not stopped to kind of figure it out. But what I've found is that I turn into this, with the thought, I turn into like this petty, whiny, judgmental, critical 13-year-old of, you're the mom, just suck it up and do it. Like there's this internal battle when I'm
Mhm.
believing that my needs for help is not legitimate. So
Mm,
I'm fighting this battle. So then if I do ask for help, it's this 13-year-old, right?
mm,
That's asking in a way that a 13-year-old brain would be asking. And so of course my kids are, like, what the what in the world? So
yeah.
without the thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would just ask for help. Without that thought, it would just be normal. This is what you do in a household. And when we're done after dinner, everybody pitches in and everybody cleans up. Or when we're getting ready for dinner, everybody pitches in. We all know we have to have plates and forks to eat with, right? Like,
Yeah.
I would just ask for help.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Isn't that, yeah. I love it when it becomes really simple like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I appreciate what Teresa just shared. It kind of opened my mind a little bit, and I realized like I'm not ready to go there yet. And so like the first thing that I would do is reach out to my coach, and I actually just texted her. But
Mhm.
like first of all, I'd ask someone for help. And without that thought, and if I truly was not fearful to ask for what I wanted, I might text him and say, I'm feeling so insecure in our relationship right now. Could you text me once a day to say that you love me or share something? It would make me feel so safe.
Mm. That's awesome. Yeah. 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 I love that idea of, when I've learned and noticed the same thing, which is asking for something without guilt, without expectation that I would have been a better person if I hadn't needed to ask. You know, that's a story. That's a hard one. And then if you kind of relax with that, like, how is it a good thing, which in a way is a turnaround here, to have this sensation? Even with hunger, I get to have more freedom and choice. Like, so there's hunger, and I like your example, Lori, of you're on your way into the movie. Maybe there's a little period of time. I can kind of, it's okay. It's not an emergency, so maybe I'm hungry, but maybe 2 hours are going to go by. The way hunger is, it's kind of bizarre, and it might be forgotten about, for all I know. It's like you can forget about it. There's a lot of wiggle room in it. And I notice the more hungry I've gotten, when I've gotten really hungry, sometimes the less the wiggle room, you know. But yeah, more freeing to have it go either way. and have it be fine.
You mean without the belief that you don't have the right to have what you want or ask for it, that you're more open to it not being met?
Yeah, 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 exactly. Like I might not swing all the way to like, yeah, right, I have a right, and I get, and then I'm asking for it, and then I might be really super disappointed if I don't get it, or I don't know, just all the different things that happen with both sides. There's kind of a little more looseness with exploring. And when I was just straight with hunger, if I'm not saying I don't have a right to hunger in the moment, wonderful. And it doesn't mean I have to eat right now. You know what I mean? Like, no, I demand I will now eat. Yeah. I have a friend that it just made me think about this one friend who like we might be somewhere and she'll say, I must have protein immediately. I am going to get a terrible headache. And so there's like, and then she does. So it's like she's very clear and everything stops. But sometimes there's less freedom in that too, depending on what's going on. So maybe there's both sides. And I'm not saying that I know she's not free or something, but sometimes she's upset. So, yeah. Not against the sensation, not against asking. Let's find a turnaround. So I do have a right. So I love I do have a right. I do. It is legitimate. It's already happened. But the thing, here comes this thing, right? A desire, a hunger, an emptiness, a need. Yeah, I don't know if you all find that, but I find it already happened. It's just the mind that says after it shouldn't have happened. You don't have a right for that. It's already there. So it must have a right to be there because it's there. It must be legitimate. So how is it a good thing? Or how is it I do have a right? Or it is legitimate?
I was thinking, I don't really know that it's my idea that I don't have the right to mess up. So it could be just as true that it is legitimate, the right, or that I have the right to make mistakes.
I love that. That's super cool. Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Lori?
I have the right or to be
Yeah.
hungry.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, take it. We all have a right to be hungry, and me included. I'm included in this. You know, uh, so I have a right to, just like anybody else. So I'm not discluded from this.
Your image of a baby is so sweet because it's like the baby doesn't, eating on demand. Isn't that great that we say that? Demand, because later on you're not supposed to be demanding. I think Abby said that, demanding. But you're just born like that. And it doesn't mean you're eating every second. Yeah, May.
Well, I just noticed that if I have the right to not ask for it, which I clearly do, then I must also have the right to ask for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also just noticing that there's fearful thoughts that keep me from doing that, and that maybe that's what I can work on.
Yeah. I really do like noticing the ones that say, if I ask, this is what I'm scared of would happen. Either I might not get it or they won't like me. Other people would judge. And those are wonderful to question. Because the mind, of course, will say, therefore, reasoning, that means I shouldn't ask, which is not true. But it's kind of like I can hear Byron Katie saying, you know, I ask and maybe I get it and maybe I don't. It's free to, the person doesn't have to say yes or no. And I'm with them on that. It doesn't mean I give up if they say no either. Or give up sounds a little bit like an argument, but you know what I mean? It's like a continued conversation. Somebody shared with me, I thought this was wonderful. I was not there present. I really loved hearing about it though, that there was a woman who, I know not everybody's been to the school for the work, but there was an exercise that everybody was invited to do. And there was a woman who said, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. And that she was keeping Katie needed to move on, like so that everybody who was going to do it was going to do the exercise and then they could all come back together. And, you know, it was like an all group thing or everybody pairing off or whatever, something. And what I loved is that Katie apparently said, you know, with the timekeeper saying, you know, Katie, da, da, da. She said, okay, so here's what we're going to do, everybody. Everyone who is ready to do the exercise, go to the back of the room or wherever they were supposed to go. And anyone who wants to stay here and listen to this conversation, you're welcome to do that, because everyone has a right to their opinion. Everyone has a right to their opinion. Everyone has a right to say what they need to say. And I just thought, oh, that's so cool. So she completely went off schedule, you know, or whatever off schedule was, to continue that conversation with somebody who was really upset. I just thought that was awesome. You know, and then it moved from there. Whatever happened, you know, and they modified. But that was my favorite part. She has a right to her opinion. She has a right to be heard.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. Whereas some people had the idea that this person needed to shut it down and that's enough already and okay. So yeah, wonderful. Same with ourselves, you know, every part has the right to be heard. Yeah.
Grace,
Yeah.
I heard you say every part has a right to be heard. And I guess I'm just curious for you, where do you discern with sharing those parts with other people?
Yeah. Sometimes I might say, I'd really like to ask this, and I've noticed I'm a little afraid that you're going to think um, you should do it, or depending on who I'm talking to, you know. Um, and I'd love to just hear whatever you have to say. So it's more of a conversation, like it's a ongoing thing, and just see what they're really willing, you know, what they're really willing to do or not do. Yeah. I think that's one of the sweetest things of where I am with it these days is because there are some changes too with just what's happening in everyone's home. or around. Everyone, my husband and one of my children is in and out a bit. And so there's some different things to work out than normally are here. And I think others have noticed that too. So it's great to have the conversation be really alive and hold that whatever I'm perceiving and everyone else's, all are good. And then the conversation can go from there. And people can say, yeah, they might, yes, and yes for a while, maybe no later. And then the conversation continues. It's not a final answer. So always have the right to come alive again. So yeah. Hope that helps. Any other turnarounds we want to speak out loud before we're done? I think I'd like to say I have a right to my thoughts. Any thoughts? Some of us get really against certain thoughts, and I have a right to my happiness or fulfilling my needs. If I'm thirsty, I have a right to get water. And people have a right to say, no, I'm not the one that's going to give you the water.
I noticed something.
Uh-huh.
For I do have a right to ask. When I was just on the call with him, I told him that it feels really empowering for me when I ask him to tell me that he loves me and that he can continue to do him. He can say yes, he can say no. If it's a no, I'll deal with my feelings. But what I'm noticing is that even though I didn't ask him, like, hey, will you text me every day? I pretty much told him I'm going to ask him for what I want whenever I want. I just don't believe myself. But I warned him in case I get there.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
Fun. Well, enjoy yourselves having a little like practicing. Practicing having the right to be exactly who you are.
Okay. Great.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, lots of love, everybody.
Thank you.
Uh,
See you soon.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Bye.